Hi, it's Colin Coward. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks.
The other big topic today was the Antonio Brown thing. And Antonio Brown at this point, I mean, today was, insanity, but kind of bores me. It's just the same old takes getting regurgitated. One overall take I have is you need crazy people in your league. The reason the pro sports are so popular, because they have a lot of characters, right? You got star players, you got head coaches, and you got crazy guys. I say this all the time about the NBA. When I grew up in the 90s, all three sports were massive. Football was by no means, hell, baseball was probably the biggest, but the NBA with Michael Jordan was equally as big as any pro sport at the time. In the 90s was the NBA's heyday. Do you know an underrated part about the mid-90s NBA? They had absolute lunatics in the league. From Rasheed Wallace. I mean, they had guys getting in trouble, starting fights, brawls, and you know what? It drew the consumer in. It was kind of fascinating. You can't just have, Joe Burrow is an awesome player, and him alone, people will be interested in, but he's kind of boring. He's not going to say anything too crazy. Patrick Mahomes is a remarkable player. He's never going to get in any trouble. You need some guys pushing the envelope. This is ultimately a television product. We talked about it last week with John Madden. Listen, for as crazy as Antonio Brown today, and when it was happening live, you're like, what is going on? And then obviously the information came out. He quit on the team, walked away. That's not the worst thing for the NFL. You need some insane dudes. And let's face it, part of the NFL, you're going to have some insane dudes playing. Now, he's the tip of the iceberg, but I also, what am I going to say? He's an insane dude with a long history of doing dumb shit. And today he did more. He just quit on his team. This isn't the first time we've had crazy guys in the NFL doing. The Buffalo Bills once had a guy retire at halftime. Now, Antonio Brown forced his way out of the Steelers, burned his feet off, and forced the Raiders to cut him before he ever played a game. Went to the Patriots, got cut after a game. Bruce Arians was adamant. Do you know what Bruce Arians wanted to say today? I never wanted this guy on our fucking team. There's one reason we have him on his team. Because the guy that basically saved the franchise, Tom Brady, mandated that he come. And we capitulated because we needed some help, and he's a good player. But, I didn't love having this guy on his team. I also never talked about his fake vaccination card. If you don't think there are guys in pro sports, but definitely, I guess, baseball hasn't had to have it, in baseball and football with fake vaccination cards, you're more than naive. You're wrong. I can't even imagine how many guys in the NFL gave fake vaccination cards. You'd have your head under the sand to think anything different. But Antonio Brown, the reason he got in trouble, because he's such a moron, he couldn't pay his chef. When you pay someone to do something, you have to, when you agree to a service, whatever it is, someone mows your lawn, someone cleans your house, someone cooks your food. If you say, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 for cook me meals for the month, you pay the motherfucker $10,000. You're a complete loser. So to me, he's a bigger loser for not just paying the guy his money that he owed him. Because in my world, you can't lose respect from me faster than stories like, oh, this guy didn't pay. In any walk of life in business, I don't want to associate with those type people. I have no respect. I was brought up to when you say you're going to do something, you do it. Now, if you go broke or bankrupt, you don't have any money, clearly he has some money, he refused to pay. Antonio Brown is a loser. For whatever reason, Brady loved him. Obviously, he's a good player, and he can help him out. And don't forget, he was good last year down the stretch. But this notion, today, every once in a while, these type things for the NFL are good for business. It's entertaining. You need some loose cannons. You can't have you know why I find Twitter so boring? Because every single media person has the same predictable take on every fucking situation. When Kirk Herbstreit said that on Saturday morning, I could have told you every single person that I follow their take was going to be. Everyone's predictable. You know what happens with predictability? It gets boring. It's hard for me to stay interested. Now, if I was a fan of my team, I wouldn't want the guy to quit mid-game. But let's face it, it was a pretty entertaining moment today in the NFL. The guy's a loose cannon, and guess what loose cannons do? They do stuff like that, and then they disappear, and then they get cut. I mean, he's been cut by several teams now. The Raiders cut him. The Patriots cut him. The Bucs have now cut him. Should we be shocked? That walks like a duck and quacks like a duck is probably a duck. Like, if you do dumb shit, you're probably a moron. And it's like, mental health, I don't even know what to say. Like, mental health, he was cool enough to be there. They brought him back. You know? Like, he's just, some people are just bad people. Why is it hard to say that in 2022? Like, this guy's just a bad guy. When I was growing up, people would just, oh, this guy's a good guy. Oh, this guy's a bad guy. It's no longer saying that. Like, he's got some issues. We all got issues. I've never met one human being that doesn't have issues. Is there one person listening to this that doesn't have issues? This guy is just an idiot, a loser. Whatever happened to just being like, you know what Antonio Brown is? A great football player who's a complete loser. It's okay to say that. And clearly Bruce Arians said that today. Bye-bye, AB. Thanks for watching 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And make sure you subscribe right now to the Volumes YouTube channel.